When my sister was in her early 20s, I had just gotten to Brazil to serve my mission and got one of the most devastating calls I had ever received, that my sister was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Was devastated and went to my mission president's home, took the call to talk to my family to find out what was going on. And the very first thing my sister said was, "Don't you dare come home." She said, "You stay and complete your mission." And she's, "I'll get the blessings from you being out there, but you need to be there." My name's Felicia White, and I grew up all over Utah. When I was in high school, I had to move down to St. George. I went to Dixie State and got a degree. I've been able to get a job at the University of Utah. I worked there for a couple of years, which led me to find a job at the church office building, working with the church. And that just opened up a lot of doors, led to a lot of blessings in my life, has strengthened my testimony in several ways. Since I was a little girl, I've had a really strong testimony of prayer. I don't know where it started, but I just know that since I was little, I would say a prayer when I needed to find something, and I would open up my eyes sometimes and it would be right there. I would have been searching for it and it was just literally right there. And growing up, that's been constant, that I've learned that when I've needed to have an answer, I say a prayer and either the answer comes or I find something. Just last year, I was at an old bishop's home and his mother was there, and she had lost her coat and couldn't find it, and everyone was looking everywhere. And by the time I heard about it, the very first thing I did, because it's what I've learned from since I was little, was I said a prayer to find the coat. And it wasn't just that I could find it, it was just that anyone could find it. And I ended up feeling impressed to go to the closet that they had already looked through several times, and felt the need to move some coats aside to look on the ground instead of where it was hanging. And there was a coat right there, and it was her coat. And showed them that I had found it, and they're like, "Oh, thank you." And I said, "No," I'm like, "It was Heavenly Father who helped me find it." I had said a prayer just to help people understand that through prayer you can have those miracles happen. There was another time on my mission, I served a mission in Brazil, in Maceió. We had 3 young men that were brothers and friends and cousins that were getting ready to get baptized. And my companion and I ended up going to another family to teach them a lesson. And after the lesson was over with, the wife went to look for the keys to let us out of the house and couldn't find the keys. So we were locked in the home. Homes in Brazil are pretty tight because of the danger of where we were at. And from the backyard, there was high cement walls that had glass on them. So there wasn't really any way out of the house other than through that front door, and the keys were lost.
Sounds like a prison.
And it was a prison at that point. And we were supposed to be leaving to go have this interview with these young men that were wanting to go get baptized. And it was one of those times where Satan's doing everything he can to prevent something from happening. At that time, I just said a prayer that I could find the keys. And this wife, I'd asked her if she looked in her purse, and she said, yes, that was the first place I've looked. And I just had the impression to go look in her purse, but her purse was also in her bedroom, which typically that's not something you do, just going to someone's personal room and space, or to look through another woman's purse, which is very not something you would do. That's not polite. But she wasn't going to look in her purse again because she had already looked, and in her mind it was not there.
Yeah.
And so I quickly went into the bedroom and just ruffled through really quick and was like, "It's not there." And then I had the impression, "No, look again." And so I was like, okay, I've already looked, so the only chance I have is to pull everything out. So I started pulling everything out one by one from this woman's purse. And there was this little bag, plastic bag, that had about a very small opening, and somehow the keys had fallen into that bag. And when I lifted it up, I could feel the weight of the keys in there. And just said a prayer immediately, thanking Heavenly Father for helping me find them, because there was very little chance and way that we would have been able to find. Other way that's taught me the importance of prayer and taking it to the next level was one of the things I like to do is hunt. I always go out every year and we do the archery elk hunt. And this year my sister had been doing the hunt and she had shot an elk. She was very concerned because we weren't able to find it. And we had been searching for it. And we had each been saying a prayer. But I just had the thought at that time that we needed to have a group prayer. And we needed to actually kneel down and say a prayer out loud together. And as we did that, and I brought it up, and my sister looked at me, she said, we've been praying. She said, what's that gonna do differently? As we knelt down, because there's power in being able to pray together with a group purpose and to be able to vocalize your prayers, not just have it be in your heart all the time, but being able to share that desire of what blessing you want with others and have that group faith combined. After we said the prayer that helped us find the elk, we got up, and it wasn't too long after that, my dad got the impression to walk off the path that we were on over to the right-hand side and immediately found the elk. It's always better just to pray. It doesn't matter how big or little it is, but Heavenly Father cares for each of his children to be able to answer those prayers and help them come to find what they need, whether it's answers, whether it's something physical, temporal. He's there to help us emotionally and physically to get through each day. That's given us so much faith and peace and comfort throughout our whole lives.